Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 29 of Husband and Wife Talks. This episode, we talk about many Christmas movies we've been watching lately, as well as a few non-Christmas movies. We talk about another TV show that Marta, me, has watched recently. We have a serious philosophical discussion about smartphones and technology, and then we have a few fun recommendations for you at the end.
Hey, Marta.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
You look all snuggled up over there.
Snuggle is my middle name.
You're not going to be throwing off those blankets halfway through the podcast episode because you're going to be so hot?
Nope.
Not at all?
Nope. It's going to be nice and toasty.
Nice and toasty.
But comfortably toasty.
I can never be actually comfortably toasty. Like every time I get like hot, I can't be hot. Either one, I need to be just normal temperature or a little bit cold. I can't be like toasty. I don't like that.
That doesn't make sense because you like blankets.
I do, to keep me at normal temperature. But once I start getting hot underneath the blanket, I gotta kick that stuff off.
Doesn't everybody kick a blanket off if they're hot?
Well, I'm talking about like toasty, because when you say toasty, and I feel like how when you call yourself toasty and like then you lay next to me and I feel like your limbs and your head rest on me, it is scalding hot. And I can't deal with that.
Scalding hot? Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
It's true. It's real hot, and I can't handle it. I'd rather be cold than hot, especially when I sleep. I don't understand. I hate when. I don't know what we're getting into. This is episode 29. We are recording this on the 17th, but you'll be listening to this on December 18th. Which, fun fact, it's National Roast Suckling Pig Day. Okay. And Answer the Telephone Like Buddy the Elf Day. I know you're probably excited about that second one because you love Elf and everything related to it.
Yeah, although when I recently suggested potentially watching Elf, your response was, we've already watched that once this Christmas season.
Yeah, we can watch it again, but there's so many other Christmas movies we can watch.
That's true. Also, if you're not familiar with how Buddy the Elf does answer the phone, he simply answers the phone and says, insert your name, so his name is Buddy. Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? And I guess you could say, like, if I answered the phone, I would say, Marta the Elf, what's your favorite color? Although...
Are you going to do that tomorrow for work?
No. Can you imagine getting on a call and everyone's like, hi, this is John. Hi, this is Kelly. Marta the Elf, what's your favorite color? To a senior manager, they'll be like, why is this girl on our team? She's kind of weird.
Yeah, do it on one of those big conference calls where you call in.
Well, on big ones, you don't usually, if there's like a lot of people, you don't usually say your name.
I know for certain calls that I'm on for work, they always ask who just dialed in, so I could do it then.
Oh, that's true, yeah. But I don't think I have a few calls tomorrow. Maybe I can swing it.
Do it when there's nobody else on the line. Then you technically checked it off the list.
But come on, that's wimpy. If you're going to commit to something goofy or silly, you have to be bold about it. You can't be like, hey, Marta the Elf, what's your favorite color? You have to say it loud and proud.
Do you think they'll understand what you're doing?
Absolutely not.
You're going to have to clarify, hey, it's answer the phone like Buddy the Elf. But is that really answering the phone? You're joining a conference call. You're not really answering.
I do have 5 conference calls tomorrow.
Oh, dang.
So each of them are most of them are 30 minutes. One's an hour. So I have 5.
Girl, you busy businesswoman.
I have 5 chances.
Oh, I can't wait for you to tell me tomorrow how you did
I'm
that.
not. First of all, I'm going to forget by then because I'll be busy with actual work-related things and not being goofy.
How dare you?
And second of all, I would never do that.
Never?
Because it's not like, I don't know. No, I'm trying to think in the past when I had different relationships with team members. If it was like very casual, maybe I would, but I don't think so.
What if you won the lottery? Would you just say F it all and do that?
I think if I won the lottery, I would have things more pressing than saying
F it all.
Something like that to someone.
What would be more pressing? What the heck to do with all that money?
Yeah.
Cash money?
What to do with all that money? How to quit my job if I'm so rich I don't need a job? That kind of thing.
I think the Powerball or something's back up decently high again for us to buy tickets to not win. Whoop, whoop.
Although people say, oh, you shouldn't buy lottery tickets because you'll never win because the chances are so slim. Yes, but I don't think people, well, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I don't.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, folks.
But what I wanted to say was I don't ever buy a ticket, not that I buy them often at all, but when the lottery was like $1 billion, I mean, at that point you kind of just feel like you have to, because what if it's you? But I don't buy it thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to win. I buy it because that just sparks all the conversations of like what you would do. And I feel like people, when they buy lottery tickets with the mentality of, oh my gosh, that would be so cool, and not like acting like they're going to win and start wasting all their money. But then people get so excited and optimistic, and they talk about what they would get, what they would do with the money, or where they would travel. So I think it's cool because sometimes when you're in the day-to-day life, you're not easily excited. Like, it's not like you get home from work and you're making dinner and you're like, I'm so excited to be cooking my chili. Like, no, you're just doing your motions day in and day out. But that
you don't like making chili?
I do. We made a delicious chili recipe, but that's not the point. The point was that when I buy it, it gives me
hope.
A little bit of hope. And plus, every time you and I always look at houses, and I remember last time we were talking about...
We can afford that $11 million house in Vale.
Don't broadcast it. What if someone beats us to it?
I'm sure the house is purchased by the time we get it into the millions of
dollars.
Although
I'm sure the market for the $11 million houses is not as hot as for
True.
houses that are in a normal person's price range.
Yeah, there's probably less people looking for houses that large. Which comes to the point, like, why would you end up selling it? Why couldn't you just rent it out or something? You probably...
Well, if you're that rich, you might not want to deal with renters.
That's fair. Like,
call Renters Warehouse, renterswarehouse.com.
You get to that point where it's just like F you money, where they're just like, I don't care, let's try to sell it. I don't need to deal with anybody. That just seems like when people have just too much, they're just like, I don't care anymore. Who cares?
Well, if you don't need the house anymore, you're still gonna sell it.
Yeah, but it could be on the market for God knows how long, with how thin that market probably would be. Except for it's in a competitive area, which I think people would look for, since Vale is more snooty than other ski resort areas.
Yeah. Speaking of snooty and ski resorts, today, since a few friends are coming to visit me in January, we were talking today about what we're gonna do and all that stuff. And I was comparing lift tickets at different ski resorts. And so Beaver Creek is the one that's considered, I think, a little fancier than Vale, I think. I've never been there, so I guess I can't really say. But I've heard that Beaver Creek is even fancier than Vale, so I expected their lift tickets, to be more expensive. But they were actually the same exact price as Vale, which I thought was interesting. Also, I think a 2-day lift ticket was like $300, $320 something. I was like, oh, that's expensive. Mm-hmm. So I gotta get a season pass and go a lot to make it worth it. I mean, if you like it. If not, then it doesn't make any sense, obviously.
I don't like skiing one bit, but I'm gonna buy this pass because Marta says so.
Really bad idea.
Horrible
anyway,
idea.
So that was National Roast Suckling Pig Day. Answer the telephone like Buddy the Elf Day. And those are the only 2 national days the day this podcast releases.
December 18th.
December 18th.
The 18th. All right. So basically, what have we been up to? I know the past 2 weekends we've mentioned that we've gone skiing. We're initially planning on going skiing, but then we decided since we'll be actually, because our nice holiday is coming up, we're going to be skiing a lot more. Taking some day trips and stuff. We probably should take a breather and give our legs a rest. And so we just did some errands. It was a lot of errand running this weekend, so it's not too exciting. Except for we did go to IKEA, which is a big thing around here. I remember when we were first moving to the area. I feel like we mentioned this maybe a little bit on the pod, but we went to one of the apartment complexes, and the guy just kept mentioning, oh, there's IKEA 5 minutes down the road. Like, is IKEA such a huge deal? I guess it is, because it's it's okay quality furniture for a decent price, like if you need it. So we went out there because we needed something smaller to store like our digital laptops and stuff, because we have the issue in the apartment. There's not a lot of counter space. We don't want our laptops just sitting out, so decided to get stuff to store more things. Storage is always nice in a small apartment.
Yeah. The one thing, I guess it's a love-hate relationship with this, depending on my mood. But I'll say it, and then I'll describe why I love it and why I hate it. Another segment. Random.
Get excited.
But, so...
What should we call it? What should this segment be?
I don't know. I'm just talking about IKEA, so name it whatever you want.
Love it or hate it?
Sure.
No. Because you're doing one love it, and you're loving it and hating it at the same time, right?
IKEA intricacies. Oh, alliteration.
Fine lines between love and hate.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Can I just go on?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Anyway, so if you're listening and you've never been to an IKEA, first of all, Google it, because I'm pretty sure it's an international store, so there might be one near you. But IKEA is a Swedish multinational furniture group that designs and sells ready-to-assemble furniture. So if you've never been to IKEA, the deal is you walk through, their whole store is kind of like, not a maze, but like a follow the yellow brick road situation where there's arrows on the ground and they direct you exactly where to go through the store.
I feel like it used to be an actual yellow line, and then they changed it to arrows now.
Oh, I don't know what it used to be.
Well, this IKEA, I thought the one in Maryland was a yellow line. I could be wrong.
I don't remember. But anyway, it goes through different sections: kitchen, bedroom, office, dining, living room, etc. Like every room of the house.
I thought you were just going to keep listing off different areas of the house until
master closet, guest room, closet,
bathroom,
okay.
Powder room.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Anyway, so they have all these, you walk through the whole store with all these different displays, and they have full-on displays of rooms. So I think it gives you good inspiration if you have, I guess if you're moving into a new place or bought a house and have literally no idea how to design or decorate something.
You're the inspiration. Sorry.
But for someone who's looking for literally one piece of furniture, you're like, I don't really need to see this entire bedroom with all of these intricacies and decorations because I just need one thing.
They do add little shortcuts, but you have to know where they are because they only give you the map once when you're walking into the section, so you have to memorize it. Or, do what most people can do nowadays. Take out your phone and take a picture of the map. You don't have to actually memorize it. Didn't really think about that at the time. Oops.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so another thing about IKEA, if you're not familiar, you put the furniture together yourself. So when you walk through all these displays, they have the furniture, they have the names of the furniture piece, and then the dimensions, and then the actual furniture there. But if you like something, you don't pick it up there. You go to their warehouse type area, which is usually at the very, very end of the store. And then you go to whatever aisle and row, or bin, I think they call it, and you pick up your box, and then you get home, and then you put it together. So personally, I don't mind it because, like you said, like Adam said, it's cheaper furniture usually because you're putting it together yourself. And it's definitely not as high quality as other furniture.
I feel like other furniture stores, you like, they're not all a lot of them are self-assemble as well.
There's just something about IKEA that makes it, I feel like IKEA just has a reputation that their furniture is harder to put together. So email us.
Easier? No,
harder. I've heard people complain that IKEA furniture is harder to put because people think the directions don't make sense.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that as an example in my English class way back when about what is good directions, what's bad directions. I feel like it was like technical writing, one of my English classes where we're doing technical writing, and they use IKEA as a bad example because it has actually no words and it's just all visuals. There's no because they were trying to tell us that there's a good in between because they gave one that just has just a bunch of words and everything on it and no actual pictures to understand what's going on, and then they use IKEA as like a very simplistic, way too simplistic with just visuals instead of doing like an in between. What?
I saw on this website called blazepress.com 18 jokes you'll find hilarious if you've ever been to IKEA. So if you're listening and you want to get some good laughs
Are you about to
IKEA,
go through all 18?
No, I was going to say go to Google, type in Blaze Press, and then 18 jokes you'll find hilarious if you've ever been to IKEA, and you'll find this article. And it's just funny because they have some...
Do you want to just send it to me and I'll link it in the description? Make it easier for our folks that are listening.
Sure.
Because we have that type of technology, baby.
Oops, I almost sent it to AK instead of my co-host.
Adam, you can use my name.
Frequented listener. Anyway, but there's a picture in this list of, I guess they're not memes, they're jokes, but it's a picture and the text is guy does not know how to IKEA, and there's a guy walking through IKEA with the full piece of furniture on his cart. So I guess he liked it and he just picked up the whole thing. That's definitely not how you do it.
Most definitely. What a noob. But yeah, apparently IKEA is a thing, like when it's not in the area, because then people get excited when it comes, because the main initial part of that story is me explaining how that the guy that walking around the apartment complex was so pumped that IKEA was close by.
In the end, it's all about who you'd want to spend a day in IKEA with. Oh, I'd love to spend a day in IKEA with you.
Aww. But it is nice because you get to see all the different layouts and stuff. So you can see how different cabinets would look with different tops. So in the future, when we're looking for stuff for our future house. You
also,
there over there?
I was thinking about when we walked through IKEA the other day, and some of the rooms and the displays are so ugly. Like, there was one kitchen where I swear they went back to the 80s or even 70s maybe and put in old appliances. Like, there's no way. And the rest of the kitchen displays looked fine. They all looked relatively new. This one looked like those old stove tops, which is fine. If you have that, that's fine. But don't
Maybe
put
people
an old...
like that look.
But it doesn't look vintage. It just looks like they ripped it out of someone's old house and brought it to their store. And now they're probably charging people more and calling it vintage or something. I'm going to start doing that.
What are you going to start doing it with, babe?
I am going to
Give me an example of what you're
selling old things, but calling them vintage instead of junk.
Like your shoes?
Sure, my vintage shoes. I'll have to think more about it, but everything can be vintage.
Everything?
In a sense, yes.
All right. I'll believe you. So I think, unless you want to rattle on why you don't like some of the layouts or what you hate about IKEA.
No, I don't want to hate on them anymore. Overall, it's a good store. It's easy to get annoyed, I think, if you just want one thing and you have to walk through the whole maze. But
yeah,
overall, it's I mean, we went there and bought something, so I guess we like it.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of frustrating because you don't know what exactly you want until you walk through, but it's kind of a pain because you have to walk through everything, like you just said, to figure out what the number is that you need to then go pick out in the whole, like, not assembly area, but self-service area, which is kind of frustrating because you can only, like, if you need one thing, like a home furnished thing, it's all the way at the end. So it's like walking through the top level, then the second level, and then all the way at the end right before self-service, self-service. So that's kind of annoying. But other than that, moving on to more of a holiday theme that's been going on the past 2 weeks of Husband and Wife
Christmas
Talks.
theme.
Well,
we don't have to say holiday. They were all literally Christmas movies that had the word Christmas in them.
All of them? I think you're missing one.
All of them besides the one that wasn't a Christmas movie. Also, can I sell something funny? I was going to say joke, but it's not a joke.
Okay.
So, this is to the listeners. So, Adam and I were watching a Christmas movie a few weeks back, and it was called something, no offense, but something dumb, like The Christmas Chair, or something along those lines.
Are you talking about the table?
That's where I'm going.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie was like a Christmas blank. Like, insert any basic noun that you can. Basic noun of a household item, like the Christmas couch or something. I forget what it was called. Anyway, so then we were scrolling through Netflix and then Hallmark and all those.
And we mentioned on the podcast that, like, what can we just think of randomly that we could throw out there? And we just said, Oh, like the table. And the table could be something that's the noun, and we just said, oh, it could be like love at the Christmas table or something like that.
And there actually, there was a movie. So I forget the exact name of the movie, but it had Christmas table in it. Oh, it was Love at the Christmas Table. But that's not what we said. You and I said just Christmas table. And I said, I think to come up with movie names, they just pick random nouns
Christmas.
and put Christmas either before or after it. And I was like, watch, I bet they could even get a movie called Christmas Table. And then saw Love at the Christmas Table. We actually haven't seen it, but
that could be on our list eventually.
That's true. But first, we have actual movies we've seen.
That reminded me, before you go, the Hallmark movie you talking about reminded me that there's a person on social media the past week that created a bot that watched over 1,000 Hallmark movies or whatever, and then had the bot write up a plot for a Hallmark movie, and it ended up... You okay over there? Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
But they ended up like trying to get the bot to write a Hallmark movie, and he posted like the first 2 pages of it. I'm gonna try to see if I can find that post, and then I'll link it in the description. But it's pretty hilarious. The bot just has like all the generic cliches, but then the bot also doesn't know how to properly grammatize sentences too, but you can get the sort of gist of what they're going for, and it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, you want to go into the movies that we ended up watching?
Sure. So I will preface with, I fell asleep during most of them at the end.
Except one.
Nothing new. Yes, that's true. Except one. So we did watch more Christmas movies. We watched a movie called Four Christmases, which is not one of the cheesy Hallmark-esque type movies. But Four Christmases, I mean, it's a rom-com, but it's just not those super cheesy ones where it's like a girl, either a businesswoman or a businessman, goes to a small town and falls in love with small town woman or small town man, and et cetera, et cetera. But Four Christmases is with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, and I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, I fell asleep at the end, obviously, but sometimes I get weird vibes from Vince Vaughn. Like, I don't find his humor I don't find his style, I guess his style of humor and his acting, sometimes makes me a little annoyed, I guess you could say. But I liked him in this movie. I didn't think he was as annoying as I have thought in some other movies. So I would recommend it. I mean, not top of the charts, but definitely.
Yeah, I think you don't like Vince Vaughn, just the typecast that he gets played into.
Sometimes the crudeness I don't like.
Yeah, like the way they have him, he's very fast talking, like with his hands, and says like goofy or
But it's not the fast
things.
talking. It's when he's just really rude or says
and
things
annoying.
that are disrespectful, and I'm like,
and
you can be funny without being obnoxious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Your character doesn't have to be 100% obnoxious.
Baby, it's not his fault. That's the character he's playing.
Well, how do you know if it's the character or if it's the...
Yeah, but I remember looking on Rotten Tomatoes, it didn't receive that great of scores. I think it was like in the 30%.
24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But I thought it was all right for just because we didn't pay for it. We didn't go to the movies for it.
Yeah,
so I always think
it was fine.
So when I watch these movies on Netflix or something, I always think of like the caveat. It's like, oh, we're not paying to go to the movie, because I imagine paying to go see that movie, you're probably like, why did I come pay for this movie? But if you're watching it for free or paying for Netflix, but you get all these different types of movies, it's, I think, a lot better than what it was on Rotten Tomatoes anyway. I thought it was pretty funny. Then we watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version, which I always liked that one. I think it's enjoyable. It was made back in 2000, but I still think it looks fantastic now for what they were trying to do. I don't understand. They try to do a new cartoon this year for The Grinch Stole Christmas. I don't know. I like this one the most, TBH.
I hadn't seen this one in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I'd seen it at some point as a child, but definitely didn't remember some of the beginning.
The actress in that movie that played Cindy Lou Who is my age, so she was 7 when that movie came out.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Now she's an adult like me.
Adult like me.
Adult like me. Except for we looked her up, and she doesn't look like anything that she was in the movie. But that could just be like all the makeup that they put on and things of that nature.
Yeah.
We ended up watching also, well, there's 3 more, but Toy Story 3, which you've never actually seen, have you?
I don't think I'd ever seen Toy Story 3.
You really enjoyed this.
I did. I liked
you were
it a lot.
Up and you were invested.
That is the one movie on this whole list of movies that I did not fall asleep during.
I was impressed.
Yeah, I thought it was cute. I had never seen it, and also we had watched Toy Story, I guess, like a week or 2 ago because it was on Freeform, and I hadn't seen Toy Story in forever because that came out when we were very little, I think.
Very young.
So it was nice to get back and watch Toy Story 3, but it was so weird because I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I should have assumed.
We were 2 when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
so.
I was 2. You were 1.
But yeah, I didn't really think about the Toy Story gap in age with Andy between Andy's age in Toy Story and Toy Story 3. So at first I was like, "Who's that old-looking guy?" And you're like, "That's Andy." But I liked it. I feel like it had a good plot for an animated movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Because sometimes I feel like it's harder when you have animated characters. I don't know why.
Why is that?
I don't know. Sometimes movies like that aren't.
Is it just because you think that they're animated that it's going to be less of a quote-unquote movie?
No, just sometimes I feel like the plot isn't as good because maybe they're putting in all this effort into the animations and all that. I don't know, but I was impressed with. And if someone were to explain or high level talk about Toy Story, I wouldn't think it was a good movie. They're like, oh, it's just a movie about like toys and a kid. Okay, but
The first one?
Any of them? Well, I don't remember the second one.
You said you don't think it's a good movie?
No, I'm saying if someone had explained the idea of it, like when I think about a good movie, I don't think about a bunch of toys and a child.
Good thing you're not a Hollywood producer. Like someone brought you Toy Story, you're like, nah, that will never work. Get out of here.
Okay, well
Give me 4 Christmases.
They've had a ton of movies that are horrible, so it's not
I don't know. Pixar's pretty good. A lot of their movies are really well done.
You said Hollywood.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about just
Hollywood is so much broader.
Pixar in general.
Oh,
they have a lot of good animated and DreamWorks.
Okay.
It's DreamWorks and Pixar that are pretty well done. And Disney animated, but now Disney animated is merged with Pixar, so it's only like 2 that are the main ones now. So, you know, Despicable Me? Which one makes Despicable Me? Quick pop quiz. Despicable Me?
Do I know what?
Who made it? Pixar or DreamWorks?
How should I know?
I don't know.
DreamWorks?
Yeah, good call. Pretty certain anyway. It's going to be awkward if I'm wrong. But anything more to say about Toy Story 3?
No.
I liked it. Has a lot of ups and downs of emotion, that's for sure.
Yeah, got me real emotional. I think at the very beginning of the movie, because one of our listeners reached out and mentioned to us that there was going to be a 4th Toy Story coming out next year. And then you mentioned when we were starting the Toy Story 3 movie that apparently Toy Story 4 might be emotional or sad or something. I don't know. You heard that somewhere. And I was just thinking, like, a movie about toys can be sad. And then literally 5 minutes in, I was like, this is so emotional. I hope everyone ends up okay. And then I realized, wow, I guess I can get emotional.
Yeah, and there's a specific part I was telling you. You didn't realize when it came out. And I said, like, I got emotional at that part because I thought that was, like, the end of the movie. That specific.
Yeah, I remember
thinking that it's going to end there. But it came out in 2010, so I was
like, you were
16 or 17. But yeah, emotional time. I like those toys. They've been with me my life.
Yeah.
There's a snake. Okay. But yeah, the next one were the cheesy variety of the generic Christmas movie fall in love type deal. First one, A Dogwalker's Christmas Tale.
Okay, let me be 100% real. The only reason I wanted to watch A Dogwalker's Christmas Tale is because it had 3 dogs on the cover of the movie, and I was just like, I can't not watch this. Also, we actually watched this after the movie we're going to talk about next, but they have the same male actor as the love interest, who's also, the guy's name is Jonathan Bennett, and he was also in Mean Girls as
Jesse? Is that his name?
The guy that everybody's dating, not everybody, but the guy that Lindsay Lohan's character is dating, and then the guy that the Regina's dating.
You sure it's not Jesse? I don't know.
I really don't think his name was Jesse.
You don't think it was Jesse? I don't know.
No. I'm going to do some quick recon.
Hold on. You keep talking. I got it.
His name was definitely Aaron.
Aaron! That's right.
His name was Aaron Samuels.
Jesse, where did I get that from? Probably
Pitch
you
Perfect.
Watching. Oh, true. Or you watching Fuller House.
Oh, I think it's Pitch Perfect. But anyway.
Aaron! All right.
So anyway, when I saw him, I was like, oh, that'll be interesting to see him because the only other movie that I recognize him from was Mean Girls. But I thought A Dogwalker's Christmas Tale, I thought it was cute. The dogs were adorable. There were a lot of dogs in the movie, more than just the 3 pictured. And I don't know, the love story itself was a little like not predictable.
Want me to give a brief synopsis of the plot of this movie?
I can give it.
You want to give it?
Yeah.
All right. Go.
A spoiled college student walks a developer's dog and is delighted when she sees he has plans to build a spa at a nearby dog park where she is taking their dog as the dog walker. Then she meets a handsome dog walker at the park, and she tries to put her selfish ways aside to help save the park.
Thanks, Google.
Hey, I took out a few words and rephrased a little bit.
This is kind of sounds like old English class when you had to get stuff to quote and you would just copy and paste it and then move some words around.
But yeah,
I never did that.
It was cheesy, but a good movie. I would recommend. Not as like my top. Definitely The Christmas Chronicles is still probably at the top. We mentioned that previously.
Then we watched Christmas Crush.
Well, technically we watched Christmas Crush before we watched A Dog Walker's
That's
Christmas
false.
Tale.
We watched Christmas Crush after Dog Walker's Tale. Because you stayed awake most of the Dog Walkers one. You fell asleep on Christmas Crush.
No, but we saw him in the other movie first.
No, we saw him in the Dog Walker's Tale first. I promise you, baby.
Okay, whatever.
We watched the Dog Walker one because you wanted to watch it. It was the first one, and you were more awake. I know.
Okay.
I know all. Just kidding, I don't know all, but I know that for certain. But Christmas Crush, or called, I think it's like, what is it? There's an alternate title for it that I saw earlier.
Yeah,
and I forgot.
Holiday High School Reunion.
Yeah. Which I don't understand why they changed the title.
They didn't change the title. Holiday High School Reunion came out in 2012, so that is a different movie.
No, that is that movie.
It is?
Yeah. They just renamed it for Netflix.
That's weird. In this day and age, you think they go from Christmas Crush to Holiday High School Reunion to be more PC. Another movie with Christmas in the title? We must change it to be more.
Or maybe they realize, hey, people like to watch Christmas movies, so let's just throw Christmas in there. Brief synopsis of this. Girl graduates high school, basically, and she's going to come back for a high school reunion, 10-year reunion. She hasn't done too much with her life since she was voted most successful, but she hasn't got as far as she thought she would, and she wants to get back with her high school bae, as they say in the description, I'm pretty sure. But that she doesn't realize that her true love has been there all along. Basic stuff. So, I enjoyed it.
Another cheesy one, but
It's cute. And funny enough, I remember mentioning this to you when we started watching. I thought the actress looked really familiar. I was like, I'm pretty certain that we've seen her in it before, and you made the joke. I was like, oh, this is like a Hallmark movie. I'm sure you actually haven't seen her, and she probably just like a familiar face. Lo and behold, I searched on IMDb. The actress is Rachel Boston, and she was in a Hallmark movie that we saw last year when we were skiing called Ice Sculpture Christmas. And they were just making ice sculpture, and she fell in love, of course. That's the basic premise, I'm assuming. But I remember that movie because I knew she was in that. Or I remember her because I knew I saw her before.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, what the interwebs can do. Didn't we mention these 2 movies last episode or nah?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? I would have to go back in the old notes, but We also recently watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2. So I think we mentioned Home Alone in the last one, and then in between, we watched Home Alone 2. Just got to keep with the trend.
Also, I'm curious what people think, because if you go on the Amazon
the Amazon
website, and you try to purchase Amazon or Home Alone 2, Home Alone 2 is more expensive.
Other way around.
Home Alone's more expensive?
I think, yeah.
Anyway, Home Alone 3 was the cheapest.
But that doesn't have
But I thought
the actor in the first two.
I don't know what I'm saying. I think what I'm trying to say is I was surprised by the pricing, but then if you look at the popularity of the movie, Home Alone is a lot more popular than Home Alone 2 in terms of the ratings on Amazon. Oh, that must be what it was. Home Alone is more expensive than Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Home Alone comes in at... Well, now it won't tell me because we did buy it.
It says $7.99 on Amazon.com. And Home Alone 2 comes at $7.99 on Amazon.com. I think we got ripped off $1.
Anyway, whatever. But I'd be curious what movie people who have seen both, which one they prefer.
What do you prefer?
That's a tough one.
I like the classic.
The Home
first
Alone?
one, yeah. Because I think he's a tiny bit cuter in the first one because he's younger. Then I feel like it's a little more realistic of him pulling off these stunts in his own house than in New York, but still, I enjoy the hijinks of both.
I also feel like the first situation, not that it's likely to happen, but I feel like it's more likely that, I mean, they have a huge family and there just happened to be that there was a neighborhood kid standing right there that she accidentally counted as her son.
Yeah.
But for your kid to make it to the airport and then get on a wrong flight, like there were just so many different events that came to be. And then for the robbers to end up there, it's just not, you have to suspend more disbelief. For
someone needs to call DYFUS on Kevin McAllister's mom. I think that was the generic term used.
DYFUS?
I think that's like for child services back in Jersey. I think that's what they used.
Oh.
I could be completely wrong. But yeah, call child services because apparently the two parents just lose track of their kid all the time. Like if you're about to go on a plane, you need to, I don't care, even if the flight attendant says that they'll get everybody, they don't know everybody in your family. So clearly someone needs to stay behind and make sure that everybody gets on the plane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nowadays that's not even possible. You would never, well, I don't want to say never because I don't know, but I feel like it's highly unlikely that you would be able to even board the wrong plane.
Yeah.
Because nowadays with the barcodes on the boarding passes.
I mean, I think they probably had that back then, or at least you had to take the ticket. But the way they got around this was that they ran into each other and all the tickets flew out. And
she dropped them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like them both. Classic Christmas movie.
Recommend. You don't see them that often, though, during Christmas time being played anywhere, though, which is strange. Because they're really good movies. I wonder if... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering... So, I think we talked about this last time, but Freeform no longer has Elf on it or Polar Express. Not that I really care. I don't like that movie that much. But Freeform used to always have Elf. And I remember this is going to sound silly, but I remember this because on my, Facebook shows you memories of like what you posted a year or 2 years ago or 3 or whatever. 2 years ago, one of our, I think she listens to the podcast, but I'm not sure. Anyway, one of our potential listeners, one of my friends.
Oh, she better listen if she's a friend.
Posted.
I want to set that girl straight.
Okay. She posted on my wall about how Freeform was playing that movie, that Elf, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to watch it. So it came up on my Facebook memories a few days ago, and then I remembered that this year Freeform doesn't own the rights to Elf anymore, which is why they can't show it.
Yeah, I think Home Alone 1 and 2 are both on the premium channel Stars, which is strange.
I don't pay for premium channels, so...
Yeah, get that ish out of here. Am I right?
Whatever.
Final thing... Marta.
Final thing I will discuss. So, one of my favorite kind of nostalgic, cute, family-oriented shows of my childhood is Full House.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone that buys movies or TV shows really ever, but in college, I believe in college, when I was in college, they announced that Full House was going to have a comeback. What is it called? A remake, a spinoff, whatever, called Fuller House, which is now Netflix has all of, or Netflix produces it, so all of that show is on Netflix. But Fuller House first came out in 2016. So I was in college and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to watch Fuller House, but I don't really remember a lot of stuff. So I did something I never do, and I bought all the seasons of Full House. It was like a package deal, so all the seasons came together. And the packaging was really cute. It was packaged in a little box that looked like the Full House house. So very nostalgic. I ended up watching all of them. I forget how long it took. It took forever. So anyway, that's the backstory. But fast forward to present, Fuller House season 4, which I'm so shocked how they've gone 4 seasons.
People love their nostalgia.
I know, but a lot of, I agree. I think it's very cute and nostalgic, but I know a lot of people are like, nothing's happening and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't know if those people would outweigh the people like me who enjoy it just because it brings back memories of the original.
Well, the people that criticize it aren't going to watch it, but the people that love it, the probably silent majority of people are sitting there watching it on Netflix, and I think that probably shows in Netflix metrics, especially if they renew it. It seems like so rapidly after the season ends, right?
Yeah.
Because the past few seasons just got picked up right away.
Yeah. Although Google says that it has 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't really understand what that means.
It means critics don't like it. But who are critics really? Nowadays.
Who cares?
They're sophisticated people who looks at the whole story. Some people just like to sit back, watch a stupid action movie or a nice, cheesy, homey Fuller House episode.
But who's to say an action movie is better? Okay, people like action movies.
No, I'm saying like action movies get rated poorly too, but if you watch that action movie, you may actually really enjoy it just because it's kind of just straightforward and simple, but people really enjoy it.
Well, I was thinking more about people that love action movies. Or if critics, for example, love an action movie. Who is to say that action movie is actually better than this?
Because it's all about people's preferences.
There's no way to objectively rate movies unless there's like a bot doing it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to choose like a simple action movie over probably what was like a highly rated movie last year called The Shape of Water, where a lady was falling in love with a merman. I'm not into that dramatic stuff. I'll take an action movie over that any day. Not my scene.
But yeah, definitely enjoy the movie. Brings back a lot of nostalgia. Also,
movie? You mean show?
TV show. You said you were talking about movies.
Sorry.
But TV show. Also, the fact that Uncle Jesse's, the guy who plays Uncle Jesse and then the girl who plays, or the woman that plays DJ are both producers. I feel like that helps because they can tie it into the actual Full House a little bit better. Because if you have new producers for Fuller House, obviously different producers than Full House, it might be harder. But the fact that you have actors that are also producing, maybe they can kind of inch in some of those cutesy little nostalgic callbacks.
I would hope people that are writers for that show are sort of lovers of the original season, so they know a lot about it.
I feel like Candace, what is her name? Candace Cameron Bure.
What a name.
Candace Cameron. Well, she's married. It used to be Candace Cameron, but
so
her married
sophisticated.
name is, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. But anyway, I feel like I can tell that she likes acting in it. Well, obviously because she's one of the main characters, if not the main character. And she's very like uppity and excited. And I thought she was a really good actress in Full House. So she's my fave. Also, I think it's funny. So if you're not familiar with Fuller House, but you know Full House, I guess. So Full House had DJ Stephanie and then Michelle. the three sisters. So DJ and Stephanie, the two older sisters, are in Fuller House, but their younger sister, Michelle, who's played by Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, they would alternate because when Full House started, Michelle was literally an infant, and I think there's child acting laws about how when you have an infant, they can only be on screen for so long, so that's why there's a lot of times twins playing an infant, because you can switch them
rotate them out.
And they look, usually identical, especially when they're...
Yeah, when they're really young, they looked so similar.
Yeah, now they look different. Now they're adults and grown up, so that makes sense. But anyway, it's funny. For whatever reason, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen they're not in Fuller House, but every season in Fuller House, they make a reference to how Michelle's not there. And I forget what
they do the generic, look at the camera thing, and then...
One of the first few seasons they did, the entire cast, they were in their kitchen, and they all just said something about Michelle, and then just turned and stared at the camera. That part was a little bit awkward and, cringeworthy almost.
I think some people would think that's funny.
I thought it was funny, but I could see people being like, oh my gosh, really? But now I think in this past season, it was a lot more subtle. DJ was talking about how her dad or someone in the family wasn't coming over because they were visiting Michelle for the holidays, and that's all. So there was a lot, they mentioned it, but it was a lot more in passing versus being very in your face about it.
I like how it's a sort of reversal from the original series where it's three older men taking care of three younger girls, and now it's three older women taking care of three younger boys, and then a girl in there as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much...
The initial setup was you had the serious one in DJ, sort of related to...
Max? The middle kid?
No, DJ was... not Uncle Jesse, the dad. I can't remember his name for some reason.
Dad?
Yeah, Bob Saget.
Oh, the actor's name. Oh.
Yeah, not the actor's name, but his name in Danny Tanner. That's it.
Oh.
And then you had Stephanie, and this is the first season that I saw. And Stephanie was trying to be the cool kid that was kind of like Uncle Jesse in the first few seasons, and then Kimmy being the goofy person like Uncle Joey. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was an interesting dynamic that they were doing, portraying sort of the same roles, but now the younger kids are now in those roles, which I thought was cool.
I also really like the little boy that plays Max on Fuller House, who's the middle child.
He's the middle child?
I actually saw an article about him today, about how he's really enjoying acting and getting more into it. But I also saw that his little brother, do you remember, and were you watching the episode of Fuller House with me where they showed a flashback?
Mm-mm.
Well, in season 4, they showed a flashback of this family, in Fuller House, but a few years back. They used Max's real life little brother as the flashback, and I saw that today. I was like, oh, that's so cute. And Max posted a picture, I think, on his Instagram of his brother side by side. I was like, oh, that's really, really sweet.
I always get nervous though for young child actors being successful, because they don't always turn out the best because they have so much money and they're still young and they don't know what to do with it. And if they don't have good parental guidance, I'm always worried about where they're going to go. Like the person from Home Alone, I think he's a little... I think he was on drugs at certain points and things of that nature.
What is his name? Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard it is because you're still growing up but dealing with the same peer pressure that people deal with, but it's just a lot more... not condensed, but concentrated peer pressure from all of Hollywood and all of that. So I can see how things go wrong. But I don't know. Max, the character that plays Max, just seems legit. He seems like a smart kid. According to IMDb, he's in a Spanish immersion school and enjoys swimming, skiing, playing piano, and creating art. Those are very sophisticated hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a Colorado native, so
woo woo.
Very happy with that.
Except for, I don't know why I said woo woo because I'm not a Colorado native.
That's true.
We're just living in Colorado at the moment.
Not a native. But yeah.
Anything
long
more on
spiel
Fuller House?
about Fuller House? No, just not something that I would recommend to the general public, but if you liked Full House, I would suggest checking it out. It's wholesome, which is what I like in most shows.
All right, that brings us to this week's, I think we have like some sort of discussion that I saw on Twitter that I thought would be interesting. We brought it to our podcast to conversate back and forth. I don't know what I'm saying. So this is based on Vitamins Water, ditch your smartphone and get 100K challenge that they're doing. So if you're just interested in entering this, you just basically send in a hashtag phone, no phone for a year, and hashtag contest, and you say what you're going to do with all that time.
What?
Contest.
Oh, you said I don't know.
I said contest.
I heard contest.
Rewind. I don't know. So basic rules: you can't use a smartphone, any smartphone for 365 days. And if you're interested, you can enter by January 8th of 2019 if you want to. But this leads to me to a question just asked to both of us: can we live without a smartphone for a year? Do you think you can?
I mean, I have a work phone that's a smartphone, so I don't. In terms of the technicalities.
Okay,
I don't know how that would
get
work.
rid of the technicalities.
No, that's a huge, like, if you take my personal phone away, I'll just download Instagram, Facebook, and whatever I want on my work phone.
Say you don't have a work phone. You don't need a smartphone for your work. Can you live without a smartphone? Let's ignore the actual facts and go into like the technicality and hypothetical situation here that I'm trying to.
Well, hypothetically, what do I use my phone for? I use my smartphone for.
Mm-hmm.
I use it for texting.
Yep.
I use it to check the weather.
Yep.
I use it to sign up for exercise classes.
Yep.
I use it to pay my bills.
Yep.
I use it to check my bank account.
Yep.
Shop on Amazon.
Yep.
Play games.
Yep.
Keep track of health statistics. Yep. Social media.
Yep.
Why are you saying yup?
I'm just concluding with the same thing that you are. But I would have to say, can't you all do that all on the interwebs as well?
Yeah, but it's a time suck. It would take a lot more time for me to get on my computer and get on my computer versus.
But don't you think it's much
phone.
healthier just to ignore the smartphone? Because a lot of people nowadays just sit and just tune out the world around them and just stare at their phone.
Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of things. You could say that about television. You could say that about the internet, YouTube.
Yeah, but now it brings us now to out in the world. Like at least with the internet and YouTube, it's all condensed in like your computer or in your living room area. But now when you have a smartphone, it's all on the go.
YouTube's not condensed. YouTube you can get on your smartphone or on your computer.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Can you give me a second, please? Pretty please. I'm saying is that what it's all condensed into TV or your computer if you don't have a smartphone. But now that you have a smartphone, it allows you access to all these things outside of this space, which now consumes you, so you're not paying attention when you're outside because you can get drawn off into the world of the internet or social media or things of that nature, and you can be disconnected even when you're going outside. You can be you could be disconnected when you're in, your living area or in your home. But I think the main issue nowadays is people are getting even more disconnected when they're going out and maybe not having the best social interaction or having the best or learning social cues or social experiences because they're so consumed with looking at their smartphone, listening on their headphones, listening to whatever's playing on their smartphone and things of that nature.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to get at, is that TV and computer at least was condensed into your apartment. Not many people would take around their TV or computer to go on the internet, but now with smartphones you can access basically anything, anywhere.
I mean, I feel like, in my opinion, people that say, there are certain things in life that I think are 100% bad that I don't see a positive to. Like, I don't think smoking, that's an example of something I really don't think there's anything personally positive to, or drugs in general, because I think that's just kind of masking another problem underneath. But I think for technology and smartphones, there are definitely positives, like Google Maps, for example. not having to have a bulky navigation device and having an item that also serves as your phone, but also as your navigation is helpful because it's convenient and you don't have to worry about carrying another device. Or, for example, having social media on your phone can be helpful to be more connected. So if you don't have someone's phone number, you can connect on Instagram or Facebook or what have you. So I think there are benefits, but I definitely think that most of us are too attached to our smartphones. And I wanted to give a personal example of why I think I am probably too attached, because I'm far from perfect myself. But there is
You're perfect in my eyes, baby.
Oh, well, thank you. There is a blogger / YouTuber that I watch, and she did this. She did something that I wanted to try myself because I thought it sounded like a good idea. And it was a social media free weekend. So pretty much what this individual has a blog, has a YouTube channel, and then she also has an Etsy shop. So she works for herself, but most of her income is really based off of promoting herself on social media and her business. Between Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, and Twitter, I mean, that's how she's bringing people in and all of that. So for her to go social media free, it's not really always feasible, because I remember watching a YouTube video that she did about this, and she was saying if she's running a sale in her Etsy shop, she can't just totally unplug, because if people have questions, she's just going to be not answering, and that's just going to hurt her own customer service. Anyway,
all that stuff does make sense with the whole, if you're running a business and you need that interaction, then I can understand why you wouldn't put away your smartphone for a while.
But she said that that's only if she's like running a sale or it's busy. But the reason she did this was at the beginning of the year. She blogged her goals for the year, and she said that one of them was to do, I don't know, like 5 or 7 social media free weekends. And I watched the videos and I saw her post about it, and I always kind of had it in the back of my mind, but I just thought, oh, what's the point? Or I don't know if I want to do that. But then I remember I did it. I decided to just go for it. I'm not sure. I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago. So what I did personally was I deleted the apps off my phone: Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, Facebook, and Instagram, which are the 4 social media apps that I use personally. So I think Friday afternoon, Friday night, I just deleted them. And I was shocked by how many times I would reach for my phone and just swipe over to click on one of those apps in my little social category.
Muscle memory.
It is. And it's scary, because we're sitting on the couch watching TV, and I just pull my phone, and I mean, it's probably like you with fantasy football. I mean, not to say that you should never look at it or it's dumb, but there's no need for you to be sitting on the couch enjoying company with someone or doing something else and pull your phone and then just scroll through. And I noticed myself so many times doing that. And in a way, it was nice because I deleted it. So I felt like, who cares? I mean, it's weird because you feel like you're missing something in a sense, because for those of us that are constantly connected, you constantly see updates. Who's eating what on Instagram? Who's
eating what?
Tagging themselves where on Instagram? Who's tagged in whose pictures on Facebook? You just always see, not everybody's updates, because not everybody's active, but for people that do share and who you see them sharing constantly, you just, I would call it an addiction. You have this addiction to constantly get information and updates.
Well, it is basically an addiction, because whatever you post or whatever you're doing, you're trying to get those likes, or, all of it on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are likes. That's the generic
Instagram
term.
story is more about showing off, in my opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of times people post and you're getting likes, and all those likes attribute to a dopamine hit. A lot of the neuroscientists state you get a dopamine hit every time you get somebody to like you or comment or retweet or whatever, and people are just addicted to that kind of small little social high that they get from posting things. So I can understand that it is sort of an addicting habit. But I know, to piggyback off of your saying being like social media free for a week, I know somebody that hosts like a podcast, and he specifically every year goes on a whole social media month without social media, like the whole month.
Wow.
And he says he likes doing that because then he can get away and tune out everything and focuses on his own, what he wants to do. And it kind of, he always states that he always feels better afterwards. Like he realizes he doesn't need it as much just for the fact that he put it away and the world didn't burn around him just because he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's another good point that you mentioned that guy did.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the vlogger girl that I watch, she mentioned the same thing, that when you first do it, I mean, when I did it a few weekends ago, that was my first time ever, which it's not a huge deal, but it just sounds like a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't look at Instagram for 2 whole days, or Facebook or any of that. The only thing that I did miss was Messenger, because that's how I communicate with people that I don't text. So I was like,
you can't use Messenger without the Facebook app? Or can you?
You can. They're separate apps, but I figured if I'm committing to social media free, I might as well
Sorry, peeps. I can't talk to you as well.
I mean, I didn't have, like, many messages that I came back to, but I just wanted to commit. But one thing that the girl that I watched mentioned was that it sounds weird, but the truth is no one cares if you're not there. Not in like a you don't matter sense, but in a sense of, like, if you don't log on to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat,
it's not the end of the world.
The world will go on.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, not to say that you don't matter, meaning you are worth more than your appearance on social media. That you have your own life and worth regardless of whether or not you're there, you're not there, you're liking people's posts, people are liking your posts. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was funny, because that was, I don't know, something that I was worried about. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I miss something? And then I realized, well, would I notice if one person that I am friends with on Facebook, like any random person, would I notice if they were
stopped liking or
not online or on their apps? No, I wouldn't notice. So it's just, you have to think about how that's not what really matters. So I would recommend everybody do a social media free weekend.
And coming back to that whole business idea of like having to be online for your business and stuff, there's also examples of fans that understand what you're going through and like they enjoy your stuff. And if you just state right away, like, hey, I need to take a break from this, a lot of times they'll be there when you get back. Because I know there's a YouTuber that I watch that he's been gone like off and on like for years. Like he would make like a video, then be gone for like 11 months, come back, and then still the same amount of people would watch him just because he's doing his thing and he's upfront about it. I just think,
I mean, if you're using social media though to make income, how can you be gone for 11 months?
Maybe that's a little extreme because he's making videos, but I'm saying you still take a break. You don't have to use that as an excuse of like you can't take a break. Everybody needs a break from everything.
Well, yeah, even the girl I watch, she said that when she does go social media free, she'll just post an Instagram story like, hey, I'm going social media free, be back Monday. But she'll still respond if someone like on Etsy asks her a question. She'll still respond. She's not just
that's like an actual, like her shop, which makes more sense because that's like a business transaction versus like if it's on like social media itself.
Well, sometimes people, if you have an Instagram for your business, sometimes they'll like send you a DM asking a question about
Sliding into your DMs.
Which is why if you post preemptively like, hey, I'm going to be away for a few days, catch me on my actual business website or email or whatever.
This reminds me of more of a millennial way of how Outlook, you put your personalized out message for when you're away on vacation or something.
So that reminds me, I like on Outlook, I like when people have those messages, and some people, it's like they want you to be really jealous of where they are. And I'm like, honestly, I don't care that you're on vacation because I'll be on vacation at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be jealous of you, and I don't want you to be jealous of me. I just want us to independently enjoy ourselves. Like, people are like, I'm out of the office until this day, enjoying my 14-day Caribbean cruise. Sorry to be missing you. I'll get in a tan. I'm
that
like,
seems so extra.
I've never seen
so much
that specific, but I've seen things kind of similar that are just a little, like a few steps too far to the point where it's not professional. Like even when we got married, when a girl that I knew that started at my company, not my company, at the company I work for.
Oh, you own it now?
She started at the same time as me, so we were connected on the Skype system at work. And she was getting married, and she was like, "Oh, I'll be out of the office for my wedding, come back, and then my honeymoon here, and then I'm coming back as Mrs. This." And I was like,
whoa.
Personally, I mean, I'm happy for you, but I didn't even say I was leaving for my wedding because I don't know. People sometimes are like really nosy, and then they're like, "Oh, where were you? How did it go? Where'd your honeymoon? How was your honeymoon?" I'm like, girl, we have never even talked. Like, you were just BCC'd on one of my emails. You weren't even CC'd, so get out of here.
Oh, man, what an Outlook burn that was. Woo! Fire.
I mean, not really, but I just prefer to be more private. I'm like, I'll
we're
be
the
out
more
of the
Ron
office.
Swanson methods, where we just say, we're out. That's basically it.
I do have one pet peeve. I actually encountered it today. So we're getting closer to when people take off around the Christmas, New Year's time. And usually, at least at my company and the teams I've been on, if you're out of the office, you leave a name of someone, at least one person, that like, hey, if you have questions about blank, like your main
go see them.
Team, go see this. So my main pet peeve is when people do that, and then that person is also on vacation. And I'm like, no offense, but what is the purpose? Like, hi, I'm going to be on PTO, personal time off, pay time off, whatever, until Monday, December 24th. Please contact Adam Buckingham. Oh, wait, he's also out of office. Oh, wait, he's also out of office until Monday, December 24th.
They just keep passing back and forth to each other.
I saw one of those today. I was sending an email to like 3 or 4 people, and one of the people was out of office. So I just hovered over her name because I was curious, like, who her backup was. Mm-hmm. And her backup was another person on the email who also had the little out of office icon. I was like, are you seriously? Did you not communicate? Anyway, that was a long rant. But should we move on to our
recommendations?
Final segment?
Yeah. The segment is brought to you by nobody. This is our recommendations. Marta, you go first.
I'll go first. Alrighty. So I have 2 recommendations, just like last time. Overachieving. Humble brag.
You know, we're going to do this each and every week, so you might want to keep some in the back burner in the future. Just FYI.
I get easily excited about things, so
That's
I
true.
don't mind.
And it's very cute.
Oh, thank you. So the first thing, I always have a backstory, which keeps it interesting. So the first thing is this week, I was, just like we were just talking about, casually scrolling through Facebook mindlessly, but it wasn't so mindless after all, because because I follow a page on Facebook called The Flight Deal or The Flight Deals. It's also a website, similar to Scott's Cheap Flights, where they just publish flight deals. If you don't know me by now, I like traveling, and I like traveling on a budget.
I tweeted on our Twitter account. I tweeted about Scott's flights, and his account retweeted us.
He did? What did you say? What did he say?
He said thank you with the little hands.
What did
together.
you say?
I said something about cheap flights, and I don't know. Let me go back. Let me find it. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. You're just casually mentioning Scott's Cheap Flights retweeted us? Like, I love that guy. I mean, I've never met him, but
you still love him, though.
I love the goal of what he's trying to do. So anyway, I saw The Flight Deal posted about a cheap flight or a flight deal from Denver to Thailand. And literally a few days ago, I was talking to Adam, and I was like, you know what? I really want to go to Southeast Asia. I want to go to Thailand because I always see on TV the really beautiful parts of Thailand. And even from people that have actually been to Thailand. I've heard good things, and I've heard, the food's good and the scenery's beautiful, and just it's an interesting culture. And I've never been, so it's on my list. And I saw the flight deal, and I was like, oh my gosh, gotta hop on it. Then I remembered the whole, money thing.
Oh,
okay. Go ahead.
So I basically just said, remember, as we've mentioned so many times in the past, in the podcast, you should check out Scott's cheap flight, whatever his handle is, for cheap flights ahead of time instead of the last minute. And I did like a hashtag, and then say, if you want to hear us gush about it, check out this episode. And the account responded with a smiley face, thank you, and one of those like praying or high five things.
Oh, they didn't retweet?
Yeah, they did. It's like a retweet with a comment.
Oh. Wait, but did you tweet it from the Hot blog?
The Hot Pod, yeah.
Oh, bringing people to our podcast. Maybe. I don't know.
You want me to reach out and see if this Scott person wants to be on the podcast?
Yes, I would love to talk to him about traveling and deals and just everything. Anyway, can I just finish my story? It's not even that good of a story.
You told me to go look it up.
No, I'm distracting myself too. So anyway, I saw this deal to Thailand, and I got excited, and then I realized we already have some stuff lined up for next year, so maybe Thailand isn't in the books for next year. But then I started thinking, oh, well, I don't know if I am comfortable enough or know enough about Thailand or Southeast Asia to plan my own trip. And then I remembered one of my good friends, DT, who I think listens to the podcast, but I'm also not sure. Like, there's only one person that consistently reaches out and like gives feedback. So if you have feedback, positive or negative, I mean, if we're actually friends in real life, reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. If we're not real friends, or if you want to be more professional, email us. Honestly, we'd love to hear feedback about anything, because it's just
nice. We know there's people in other countries that listen to us.
We do. Bonjour. Anyway. So, one of my good friends recently traveled, and she used a travel company called Intrepid Travel. And Intrepid Travel is I don't know the exact name of what they are. I think it's just a travel company, or according to Google, a small group adventure travel company. But their deal is that their travel groups are smaller, and you have to be between the ages of 18 and 29. So it's cool because, no offense, older folks, but it's not like you're going on a trip and it's like all 60-year-olds, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just nicer because you're all in a similar stage of life.
Hey, to be fair, there were some older people on your hike in Machu Picchu who was
I can't hate on people older than me because, another random aside, but a travel story. So the summer after I graduated college, which was about 2.5 years ago, getting old. But anyway, right before I jumped into working full time, I decided to do some traveling, and one of my trips was to Peru, to Machu Picchu, the famous, world wonder. Never heard of it. Google it. It's beautiful. But, so the ways to get to Machu Picchu, or I should preface actually, because I actually didn't know much about Machu Picchu before I got there. I didn't realize that it was this much of an elevated kind of city in the mountains. I had seen pictures, but I didn't really know how to get there or anything like that. So Machu Picchu was an Incan little town, I guess. And it was very sophisticated, and it was built on this giant hill.
Wasn't it the center of the Incan Empire?
Incan Citadel.
Yeah.
What's a citadel?
I'm pretty certain that means like the main area.
I don't know. They told us a lot when we were there, but I was really tired because it was like 4 a.m. So
get this history out of here. I want to sleep. Let me sleep.
Oh, I could talk about that a whole bunch. Okay, I got to be quick though because I don't want to run too long.
A fortress, typically on high ground, protecting a dominating a city.
Anyway, so it's really high up on this really steep mountain. So to get to the base of Machu Picchu, you can either take a train from the nearest city, which I believe is Cusco, but I'm not positive. So don't quote me on that.
We're going to get back to your recommendation, right?
Yes, we're getting there. Or, so Machu Picchu, you either take a train or you take a hike. That sounds funny. Take a hike. But literally, it's a long hike. They call it a trek. There's 2 famous treks. There's the Incan Trail and then the Salcante Trail. I did the Selconte Trail, which is the less common, but the two friends that I went with, we decided on that one for various reasons. So anyway, we did that, and I thought that the hike just ends magically at Machu Picchu. It doesn't. It ends at the base. So you can also hike the actual mountain to get to the top, which was definitely a huge no-no after we hiked, I forget how many miles it was.
A lot of miles.
40, 50. I did document it on my Instagram, so every time I'm unsure how many miles it was, I just scroll back through, and it was over 40 miles in like 5 or 6 days. It was a crazy trek. It wasn't easy. But anyway, so long story short was, where did I even why did I start going here? Talking about Machu Picchu and hiking. Adam, do you remember?
Intrepid travel. We said talking about old people.
Oh, thank you. So before we even started the trek, we started in Cusco, which is, I think, one of the closest cities to Machu Picchu. And we had this pre-trip meeting, right? And there's like 8 or 10 of us on this trek. It was me and my 2 friends. We were both, or the 3 of us were fresh out of college, like 22. And it was everyone else in the group all knew each other. It was like a brother and a sister, and then like their spouses, and then one of their friends. Like they were all a group together. So the 3 of us were kind of the smaller group on the outskirts. And the rest of them were all, I mean, I'm not that good at judging ages, but I would say late 30s to early 50s, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe the one lady was like late 50s, 60s. I don't know. Huge range, but whatever. And I looked at them and I was like, okay, guys, I think we're good here. Like, I was very confident. And I looked at these people and I was like, okay, yeah. Well, hope old grandma makes it up the mountain.
I have a feeling we're going to have to save your other recommendation for next week.
No. It'll be quick. Okay. So anyway, long story short, they all killed it. Turns out one of these women... I don't know
if it was a long story short.
One of these women lives in Colorado and hikes 14ers all the time. Back then, I didn't even know what a 14er was. A 14er is a 14,000-foot hike, which is insanely high in elevation and insanely difficult. She does them all the time. She lives in Colorado. So, joke's on me. I was sometimes at the back of the group. I was so far behind that even the back end instructor person was in front of me. He was just like, okay, this girl will catch up eventually. So definitely scary. If you ever want to travel to Peru and want to get some more insider tips, I'd be happy to share. Scary, but really fun. Anyway, so Intrepid Travel, I started looking at it and I didn't book anything or anything like that. But they have so many different trips to all the different continents. They have different themes too if you want something more active or more food related, or really they have so many different things. So I'm hoping to find a trip that's suitable for us and go on it.
Where are we going now?
Wherever. I mean, I'm up for
folks, I only have 2 vacation days left for 2019.
I'm up for anything. So just give me a time and a place and I'll be there usually. Anyway, so Intrepid Travel, definitely excited to research more trips, get hyped about them, and then eventually book one. My next recommendation is one that I found out through Instagram, through some quote-unquote Instagram influencer that posted some ad about it, and I was like, what is this garbage? And then I looked into it individually several weeks later without using the referral code.
Got them! Even though they're trying to, have a business and stuff.
Have a business? An influencer is not having a business. They're literally posting, use the code Marta 20 to get 20% off your order, and then they get money. That's not their business.
That's what that's what podcasts do to make money too. They put ads in their podcast.
Yeah, but this is a woman that was on The Bachelor. I'm not funding her life. You should get a job or have a business and not just post ads all the time. Which in her defense, she actually does have a business. But anyway. Anyway. I just want to say my second recommendation. It's called Thread Up. I'm honestly not getting paid to say this, and I probably never will. So, I can say whatever I want. Use code Marta20 for no % off because I'm not.
They'll say that coupon code doesn't exist.
Because I'm not an influencer. Actually, I dare you. Type in Marta20 and see what happens.
All right,
Probably
back
nothing.
to ThreadUp.
Anyway,
Why do you love it so much?
So ThreadUp is I think the largest online secondhand retailer. So I really like it because I was looking for something really specific. I was looking for base layers for skiing. So certain materials that keep you warm but also wick away your sweat. And the one brand I was looking at is like super expensive, and I didn't want to pay $100 per like one shirt or one pair of pants for the base layer. So I was like, let me just check out this secondhand online shop. And they had so many clothes just in general. And a lot of them, like I found t-shirts, perfectly good t-shirts for like $3 or $4. I mean, everything's secondhand, but I feel like it's also better for the environment because instead of just going out and buying something new, you're buying something from somebody else. And the way that this company works is that if you have some clothes that you want to sell, I'm probably simplifying it. I've never done it, so I'm not sure about the exact intricacies, but you put your stuff in a box and you mail it to them, and then they sort through and say like what is appropriate. So if you have like a shirt that has rips and stains, I don't think they're going to accept it. So, it's also good to know that they have a certain level of minimum, I guess, what's appropriate for them to sell back to other people. But they have, unfortunately, it's only for women and kids, no men's clothing. But for women, they have normal clothes, work clothes, exercise clothes, purses, shoes, handbags, jewelry, everything. And it's good for kids too because, we don't have children. But if you have a kid, like your kids grow out of clothes quickly, so it would be good to get things cheaper instead of paying a lot and then kids growing out of it. So I've bought some stuff at ThreadUp and I'm excited to keep using it for clothes because I think it's sustainable and just good for the environment and a lot cheaper. I'm done.
Unfortunately, folks, if you're a male out there listening, you can't use ThreadUp because I don't think it has any male section.
Yeah, I said that. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
All right, your recommendation since I rambled on about mine.
My recommendation?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, my recommendation this week, it's called a Rocketbook. It's technically one of my Christmas gifts that my lovely wife purchased for me. She's so thoughtful and kind. If anybody's interested, you just search Rocketbook. You can actually get a visual what it is. It just looks like a normal notebook. I got the executive size, which is smaller than the letter. But all it is it's kind of like a collection of, it's sort of like a whiteboard, but not really, kind of, sort of. But the basic premise is you write on it. They have little symbols on the bottom, so if you mark those symbols off, you connect those symbols with certain destinations in the app itself, and then the app, basically you hold your phone up and it quickly scans the page that you just took notes on, and it sends it directly to that destination that you have, that you set up with it, so like on a Google Drive or Evernote or wherever you actually take notes. And I really enjoy it because I like to condense my notes digitally in certain areas, but I don't like typing up notes so much. I like the personal feel of writing it down, which is what I get when I use the Rocketbook, because the pen that you use is very straightforward and easy. It's like a normal pen. It's not like one of those, if you're writing on like an iPad, it's not like the generic stylus, which never really quite feels the same way as when you're actually writing, which is what you get when you're writing with this. So I really enjoy it. I use it for note taking, or sometimes when I'm just having like thoughts or thinking about things. Also, you can do it as a cute, like writing letters to your loved one, because you can easily send direct messages through like your Messenger app on your iPhone to somebody else, which is nice because it just sends it as a JPEG and it's easy to read. And I think it's a cool little gadget. It's not that expensive. It was only $30, which is pretty cool. And it says you have unlimited use, so once you're done with what you're writing, you can just take like one of the cloths that they give you and make it a little bit damp, wipe it off, you're good to go. So, yeah, that's my recommendation for the week. So check it out. Highly recommend. Anything more to say, my love, before we go?
I'm all talked out.
You're all talked out? Man, we're at 1 minute and 24.
1 minute and 24 seconds?
1 hour, sorry.
And 24 seconds?
Yeah. 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. Man.
Cool.
We just added a few more seconds trying to decipher what I was trying to say. This has been episode 29 of Husband and Wife Talks. Marta and I really appreciate you all for being here and listening to us talk about things in our lives and topics and things of that nature. Remember, please, if you have any feedback or want us to answer anything on the podcast, you can email us at hotpod@gmail.com. You can also visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/hotpod. You can also click the send email button there to easily send us an email if you want to go that route as well. Twitter, our Twitter handle is Twitter or at hotpod. Whew, man, this is a final segment. I'm all talked out as well. This is a long episode and I like it. But remember, you can share the podcast with your friends and family. We would really appreciate it. You can share our goofiness with them, and I think they'll appreciate the gift of us. Am I right, babe?
You're right.
But yeah, if you're on Apple Podcasts listening to us right now, please give us a 5-star rating. That'll help us out a lot. I know I say this every week, but I'm going to keep saying it until we get more ratings. And maybe I'll read an actual written review on the podcast itself. Yeah, share us. We're on Overcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, all the other Pocket Casts, because I saw somebody recently downloaded a few episodes on Pocket Cast. We're basically everywhere you can find podcasts, and if we're not, you can email us to let us know, and we'll try to get there as well. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to episode 29. We appreciate you all. Again, Marta, say something nice.
You're beautiful inside and out.
Okay. Bye, y'all.